So I made a salad. I'll give you directions on how to make that. Then rice and the milanesa. Let's try it, you guys. And I like to put that salsa I made over the milanesa. In a pot, you are going to add 3 Roma tomatoes and 3 jalapenos. My ratio is 1 tomato to 1 jalapeno, with a 1/4 cup of water, and then you're going to stew them. Then once they're done stew, you are going to add them to a blender. Make sure you do remove the skin from the tomatoes, and you blend that with 1 clove of garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of the water that the vegetables stewed in, and 1 pinch of oregano. I didn't show it on here because I totally forgot, but it's 1 pinch of oregano. And then you're going to blend that, and then you're going to add that to a bowl. Make sure that when you do blanch this, or you do blend this salsa, you blend it while it's still hot, because then you're going to introduce your white onion, and it needs to be cold or raw. Then you're going to add it into your hot salsa, and this will blanch the onion a little bit. That way it's not too super pungent. And then you're going to add 1/4 cup of the vinegar from the pickled jalapenos, and you're going to give this a good stir, and it's ready to be used with your milanesas. Okay, in another pot, you are going to add 2 tablespoons of cooking oil, 1.5 cups of rice. It could be to your preference: long grain, short grain, jasmine rice, sushi rice. In this case, I'm using long grain rice. And you're going to give this a stir. You're going to stir this until your rice has toasted. Stir, 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 stir. You always want to keep an eye on it because it could burn really easy. So if you can see here, my rice is already toasted, and I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 cup of yellow onion. Always use yellow onion when cooking. White onion is more for garnishes. So you're going to give this a stir. You're going to saute your onion. Once you've sauteed your onion, you are going to add your garlic. And make sure that when you are adding your garlic to this and you stir it, you don't overcook your garlic. As soon as you start smelling the aroma of garlic, then you're done cooking the garlic. So at this point, once you smell that, you need to be ready to add your next step, which is 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And then once you've added your tomato sauce, then you're gonna saute the tomato sauce. You're gonna kind of almost like cook it a little bit. It's gonna evaporate into the rice. So once you see at this point, if you can see here, it's evaporated and it's developed a fond at the bottom with the tomato sauce, then you add your water. And I've added to 1.5 ratio, I added 2.5 cups of water. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of chicken base. If you do add chicken broth instead of the water, then you can omit the base. Or you could always add the base, it just gives it added flavor. It's to your preference. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of corn. Frozen corn is my preference. I don't like using canned stuff. I believe that frozen gets the best flavor because it's frozen at its peak. Then you're going to let it cook until all the water or the sauce almost has evaporated at the top. You start seeing the rice grains and all. At this point, you're going to cover it and then lower the flame and then cook for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you turn off the stove, let it sit for another 5 minutes, then remove the lid, and then you get a fork and you want to fluff your rice. Once you've fluffed your rice, then you want to cover it again. That way, it continues to cook. All right, so let me show you guys something. lot of recipes that you need cornflakes. This is what I use to coat the Milanesas with. So what I do is I crush them up in a blender or in a Vitamixer or whatever, or if you have a hand beater or whatever you need, definitely use that to crush up the cornflakes. And then you're going to use this as your crumbing. So basically you're going to do a 3-step. So you're going to do flour, egg, cornflakes, just like you would do flour, egg, panko. So your coating is going to be what your preference would be. So if it's corn flour or if it's cornflakes, what else should you people use for coating is panko. Feel me? You feel me? I mean, if you want to use hot Cheetos, you can. If you want to use Lucky Charms, I'm sure you can. So that would be your coating. So today we are going to use cornflakes as a coating. All right, your first step is salt and pepper your cutlets, then dust them with your flour. I like to do them all at once. In another bowl, you're going to have your eggs, and I also add salt, pepper, garlic to this at this point. I'm going to mix the eggs, and this is my second step. Then my third step would be the cornflakes. So this is the top coating. I don't add any salt, pepper to anything because the cutlet's been seasoned, and also the eggs. All right, so once my beef has been coated with the flour, I introduce them all into the egg mixture. I like to save some time, so I just throw them all in there. They're all going to do the same thing. So then once they've been added to the eggs, I'm going to go ahead and add them to the cornflakes. Make sure you pat them good on both sides, and I like to dust them plentiful with the cornflakes, and I like to stack them up, and they're ready to get fried. I like to also sprinkle a lot of cornflakes once they've already been breaded, and they're ready to fry. In a cast iron skillet, you want to add some cooking oil or frying oil, and you don't want to fill the whole pot with oil. You just want to go about a quarter inch high of oil, and then you're going to fry your cutlets, both sides. Remember, they don't cook too long. They're very thin pieces of meat, so once you see that they've browned on one side, you flip it over to the next side and you let it brown, and that's it. You don't want to overcook these things. Remember, it's a thin piece of beef. That's it. And these are great for tortas the next day. This is a quick salad. All you need is avocados, Roma tomatoes, white onions, lettuce, a squeeze of lime, and salt, and you mix. That's it. And here's your salsa. This takes me way back home. This is what my mama cooked for me. You're missing out. But if you watch my video on how to make the Milanesas, and I guarantee you will love it. Alright guys, see you guys next video, and remember to request any type of meals that you would like to see me cook.